Hey, Dwight Clow here. I want to talk with you for a moment about the admirable life versus the supernatural life. You know, if you read the Bible carefully, you'll find that God again and again asks us to do things that are just impossible to do. A good place to start with that is the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus says that we are to love our enemies, that we're to forgive people who sin against us, who hurt us. Jesus even says, you are to be perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. So what's going on here? Is Jesus just like blowing smoke, or is he being serious with us? Well, I want to suggest to you that God has called us who are followers of Jesus Christ not to live an admirable life, but to live a supernatural life. And now what do I mean by that? What's the difference? Here's the difference. An admirable life is what any pagan can do if they put their mind to it. An admirable life is what you get when you try hard, when you set goals and achieve them, when you just determine by your own willpower that you're going to do good. And it is what it says. It's admirable. But that is not what God has called us to do. God has called us to love the unlovable. God has called us to forgive the unforgivable. God has called us to live a life on a whole different plane, a supernatural plane. And so what does that mean? I think most followers of Jesus, and for many years I kind of had this idea, well, that means that we have to try even harder, right? No. Sorry. No. That's not how it works. If it's supernatural, that means it's impossible for us to do. I cannot love the unlovable. I cannot love my enemies. I do not have that ability. I cannot forgive the unforgivable. I don't have that ability. Matter of fact, if somebody just looks at me the wrong way, I can easily take offense. I mean, that's my level of ability. But God has called me, and God has called you to a life on a whole different plane, a supernatural life. Now, does a supernatural life mean that we're going to be laying hands on sick people and emptying the cancer wards, and we're going to be walking down the streets hand in hand with angels, and we're going to be raising the dead and walking on the water? Well, no, not necessarily. If that happens to you, great, more power to you, but that's not really the essence of the supernatural life. The essence of the supernatural life is inner wealth. It's God coming inside us to empower us to do what humans normally cannot do. It's God empowering us to love at a level that we humans cannot love at. It's God empowering us to be filled with love and joy and peace. Peace when our whole world is falling apart, when everything is going wrong. It's like people are looking at us and say, how can you be so at peace? And our only answer is, I don't know. I can't explain it. The only thing I can explain is I was in anguish, and I invited Jesus in, and suddenly everything is okay. So why do I do inner wealth? Why do I have a subscription and teach courses and all of that, yada yada? Is because I want you to experience this supernatural life. And I want to bring you along with this journey that God has taken me on, of learning to leave all this try hard and work hard and all of that stuff behind, the admirable life behind, and instead embrace Jesus and live a supernatural life. So anyway, I hope these thoughts are encouraging, or if they're not encouraging, I hope they're at least thought-provoking. And I invite you to keep following what I'm posting, and hopefully you'll be able to experience this supernatural life and this inner wealth for yourself. Have a super day. Thanks.